Hey loves. So basically we're going to be changing black bundles to red bundles. Well, more of a like a dark burgundy. I'm using 2 boxes of magenta and then 2 boxes of I think fiery red. I'm going to make sure that I check on that. So 2 of each, and I'm mixing it together with 40 developer. As you see, I'm just trying to show you all my supplies. I have gloves. I'm going to show you the bundles that I have. I have my client basically got the bundles from a girl, I think offline or in Atlanta. I'm not exactly for sure the company, but if I can find it, I will definitely include it. I am going to be dyeing 30 inches of hair, okay? So she has 3 bundles of 30-inch hair, and then she has a 20-inch closure that I'll be showing you in just a moment. And as you see, I'm just basically unboxing all the hair just to show you the hair and the texture. Okay, now I'm just going to be showing you the closure, how I basically tried to protect the lace. I definitely should have gave it a few more minutes to dry, but it did do pretty well. It didn't get too much dye on the lace, just a little bit on the edges, but as far as the part was, it was perfect. So that was my main concern. As you see now, I'm going to be parting the hair and kind of combing through it and getting ready to go ahead and put the dye on it. So you want to make sure that you're putting a good amount of dye on it. Make sure that you're combing through it so that the dye can definitely make sure that it's on every strand of hair. That's definitely going to be what's going to give you the best results. And just to kind of piggyback on as far as my mixing process, all I did was just put all 4 boxes in, and then I mixed it with 40 volume developer, just as the box says. And that just is basically pretty much it. It's really simple, y'all. Just make sure you keep watching and see how I apply the color to the hair. You want to make sure that you're getting as close as possible to the lace, but without actually getting the dye on the lace. If you don't feel comfortable, I would just not even get close to it. You definitely don't want to dye your lace. Just keep watching as I pretty much do the exact same process over and over, and I'll come back and touch on how I'm going to dye the bundles, because you'll see that it's a completely different process than the way that I dye the closure. Okay, so you'll see me just putting in my last few touches on the closure. I am completely done now. I'm going to take my foil and I'm just going to basically prepare to go ahead and put the hair in a piece of foil. Therefore, it'll process a little faster, and make sure that that hair is definitely soaking up that dye. Just, putting my glove back on to protect my nails, which are important, honey. You know how that goes.
30 hertz straight up, straight up, straight up.
Okay, now that I'm done with the closure, I am just basically going to show you how much dye I have left in the bottle. I am going to be doing a different dyeing process than I normally do. Normally, you would unravel the bundles, lay them all out as flat as possible, and then start putting on the dye. However, as you see now, I am going to actually be dipping my hair into the basically dye mixture that I made. And I'm just going to be trying to get it on all the hair follicles and just kind of work my bundle into that dye real good. And once I have a pretty good amount of dye on the hair, I just kind of wring it out a little bit, making sure that I'm not just wasting dye. I start just kind of using my hands to kind of work it into the hair or the bundle as much as I can. I'm looking for black pieces. I'm filling in those spaces with dye. I'm just massaging it into the hair and making sure I'm getting that dye in as good as possible. And don't get me wrong, this process is a lot messier than the normal process. However, my ending result just showed me just how good this process is. Like, I might even say this is probably my favorite way of dyeing other than the water dyeing method, which again, we decided not to bleach the hair and to do this dark hair dye method using the L'Oréal. So you're just going to see me kind of working that dye in using my brush. Just working it in as good as possible, and then when I'm done, I'm going to just go ahead and put it to the side. And I'm definitely doing this process pretty much to every single bundle. Okay, so I had 3 bundles of 30-inch hair, so this is definitely a lot of dye. And I know y'all can only imagine, if I would have laid all this out flat and tried to paint this dye on, it would have just literally took forever. So I'm so happy I found this method. So after I completed the dyeing the 3 bundles, of course I put it in full and let it process. As you see, this was my final color that I got from dyeing it this method. My client was extremely happy with the final look. The hair was still soft, easy to manage, and I definitely recommend this.